So how did you get involved in trying to end knife crime?
My son was going to a school in Edinburgh, and he came out of school and saw a little fracas with some young people outside, recognised that his friend was in it, went up, tried to peacefully break it up, stop him. I've heard that it was a bit of a play fight, it wasn't even too serious. My son was breaking it up, and the guy pulled out a knife. My son stepped back, said, you know, what are you doing with that? Put that away. I'm not sure if the guy felt that he didn't have the fear factor that he wanted my son to have, and he went for my boy and stabbed him in the heart, killed him outside his school.
How did you manage to take that incredible pain and turn it into something so positive like you're doing today?
As you can imagine, the process of trying to deal with all these emotions and thought, how can I give back? I'd worked with social services, different councils, and I felt that I really cared about young people and getting good results. So I started the Prince Foundation.
So it's named after your son?
Yeah.
And your son was a promising footballer?
Yeah, he was awesome, absolutely awesome. It was wonderful listening to the heads, coaches, talking about his promising future, that he could be playing for England under 21s. Just listen to them calling us into a meeting, telling us even at 15 they're going to put him into the first team with the grown men. So he had great potential, great potential. If you see a picture of him, he's amazing.
I think we've actually got a photo here that we can show.
Yeah.
And he's there playing for QPR.
Yeah, you can see the kindness and just loveliness in his face, man.
Have you forgiven your son's killer? Do you get to that place, or?
I had to.
Have you?
I had to. I had to free myself. Because I have to do work now where I meet other guys just like him. How do I work with them? How do I help them? How do I heal their hurts if I'm carrying my own baggage of hurt? Forgiveness is needed for healing for me personally, to be able to go out there and work with these same kind of young people with this mindset.
You're visiting every school in Dublin?
Yeah. I did an experience earlier this year in Dublin where I was just walking down the street and two 16-year-old boys walked past me. I thought nothing of it until maybe a minute later, and one of them jumped over me from behind.
Yeah.
All the while, his friend recorded the entire thing on his phone.
Right.
And lots of people walked past. Nobody asked if I was okay. I rang my mother straight away, and she said, get the police involved. And I did, but with a background in education, I was like, you know, what happens if these two boys get caught? All they learn is not to get caught.
Yeah.
They don't actually learn any empathy or any understanding. And I have a friend who works for the North East Inner City, which is an organisation in Dublin. His name is Michael Darragh Macaulay. And I called him and I said, listen, I want to do something that will actually have an impact. Can we go into all of the schools in these areas?
Yeah.
He was like, sure. And I went into all of the primary schools and all of the secondary schools and literally facilitated questions about the fact that I didn't choose to be in this body.
Yeah.
But how we behave to ourselves and to others every day is a choice. But actually, I think I'm really lucky. I walk into a room and automatically you can figure out that I need a footstool full of newspapers. Besides your special eye, I don't know what your challenge is.
But so tell me about your book.
My book describes the type of life I led from being born to the present day.
Wow.
It is about the life that ordinary workers endured from the 1920s to 1932 at least. It was a frightful thing. Hunger was a daily occurrence. It was a terrible time. I remember getting up in the morning, my sister going to the cupboard and turning around and saying, "No good, Harry, it's empty." No food in the morning. And I would tramp to school and my stomach was just crying out for some sustenance.
Wow. And do you find it, it's so sad that what you're describing there, we did a bit on the show a couple of weeks ago about malnutrition in English schools now. Does that astonish you that we're in the same mess that you were in when you were young?
It astonishes me and it frightens me.
Yeah.
Because I see a return to those bad old days that I remember so well, unless we wake up to the reality that we cannot be feeding our people with the use of food banks, which are increasing daily. I'm not a politician,
Yes.
I'm not a journalist. I'm just an ordinary man who is disgusted at how Britain has gone downhill so fast and furious.
But that's what the world needs. It needs ordinary men screaming from the top of their lungs to fix it. Basically, you go around converting people that are in the KKK.
Well, I go around meeting them and set an example, and they end up converting themselves. Some of them do.
OK. The other thing that really freaks me out is that I just assumed the Klan had gone. I didn't think it was there.
Oh, yes.
So how many members of the KKK have you stopped being members?
I would say maybe directly between 40 and 60 people. Indirectly, over 200.
OK.
Yeah.
That's a pretty impressive thing to do.
So vicariously, through learning about me and then in person, many of them would end up leaving the Klan on their own. I was the impetus, but I didn't say, you know, you need to get out and give up this stuff.
Yeah.
They would leave on their own, and I would get their robes and hoods and other Klan paraphernalia, which I keep. Okay.
You keep
but
them?
Yeah, I do, because one day I'm going to open up a museum, because it's important, you know, that if you're going to show your history, you got to show the good, the bad, the ugly, and the shameful. Don't hide anything.
Jeremy Hunt was claiming that doctors were striking because they were being greedy.
Yes.
And they weren't, and he knew that. And it was like a dagger in my heart every time he said on the media doctors were being greedy, because he's got a very loud voice, he's got access to all the media.
Yes.
Doctors have a very quiet voice. You know, they're doctors, they're at work being doctors. And I thought, the public don't actually understand what it actually means to be a doctor, the toll it takes on your day-to-day life at home and at work. And I had these diaries I'd kept whilst I was a doctor, which were a fair reflection of what it was like.
And now the book's out.
The book's out, it's called This Is Going to Hurt, Secret Diaries of a Junior Doctor, and it's literally that. The sad stuff and the funny stuff and the mundane stuff and the boring stuff and just everything it means, adding up to people who aren't greedy. So I wrote this book because every doctor's got the same story, but no doctor's got the time to, you know, go out and say the truth of it.
Have you ever done something that maybe you shouldn't have done just to help a patient?
All doctors every day, you know, stay 2 hours late after work or whatever because you can't leave someone who's bleeding, or you can't, you know, it's not an option to go home on time always. But one that sticks in my mind, there was an 85-year-old gynae cancer patient who broke our hearts on the ward round. She told us that her, you know, she missed her late husband and her children had barely visited her, and she couldn't even have her normal whiskey nightcap when she was in the hospital. So I played Boy Scout and prescribed whiskey 50 mils once a night on her drug chart, and I gave the house officer, the most junior doctor, I gave him 20 quid to go to the supermarket to
Out of
buy
your
a
own
bottle.
money?
Out of my own money.
Fucking legends. And stuff like that. But it's that in a nutshell, that is caring for people, isn't it? Because it's like, in that instant, you've got a very frightened old lady who needs a home comfort, and you, not on a huge amount of money, went, oh, get her that, it'll be sweet. It's beautiful.
However...
OK.
In the morning, the ward sister reported that she declined her whiskey because, and I quote, Jack Daniels is fucking cat piss.
Well, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kris Hallenga. Hello, Kris. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure.
You're a boob champ.
Thank you very much. So, boob... What's that, boob champ? Does this give me sort of special licence to...
It's better than a Blue Peter badge, but it won't get you free entry into anything.
Does it allow me to sort of do things to boobs?
Only with permission.
Only with permission, that's fine, that's fine. An excellent answer. But I would expect nothing less than Woman of the Year. Did you know that? Kris was recently voted Woman of the Year. Pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself looking at these ladies thinking, oh, not as good as me?
Definitely not. If anything, I feel really awkward about the whole thing.
You're possibly the most selfless lady I've ever... I saw your documentary. I don't know if you've seen Kris's documentary. It's unbelievable. But the moment that you were diagnosed, which is just heartbreaking. The biggest worry for you was telling your twin sister.
Yes.
It's just unbelievable.
Which you wouldn't understand unless you have a twin. And I know that your brother and sister are twins, aren't they?
They are.
So they'd probably understand. But it's like no other relationship that you have.
Yeah.
And, yeah, breaking it to her was the hardest.
Most people in that situation would think about themselves. And, you know, completely understandably, but the fact that you put her before you is kind of beautiful. It is. No, but it is. It's just, I was watching, I was crying my eyes out. I'm sort of sat there thinking, I've got to meet this lady, and she's ridiculously self-love. I don't know how I'm going to be funny around her.
Oh, if anything, it's great to talk about cancer in a comedy environment. It's refreshing, and I mean, I get to talk about boobs all the time, and it's great. And I don't really like. So it's great.
Now I notice you've got a
glittery turd.
You've got a glittery turd. What's that?
This was an award that my twin sister gave me, and it's a special recognition award, Ultimate Turd Glittering.
Can we have a look at that?
Why
That's
not?
really sweet.
Yeah, she
Special recognition.
polished that herself and everything.
It's worryingly warm. That's what I would say.
They actually laid one out just before. We really like the saying, you can't polish a turd, but you can roll it in glitter. And because I would never deny that having, you know, cancer is absolutely rubbish, but we get to do some really cool stuff because of it.
Well, that's the amazing thing, because basically, were you like 9 months into your diagnosis when you thought, I'm going to start a charity?
1 month, actually.
1 month?
Yes.
See, look at that. It's incredible.
Yeah, so it was just after I started chemotherapy, and I was thinking long and hard about why no one ever told me to check my boobs, and why I never had that conversation with my friends, and I realised actually no one was educating about it in schools, and none of the breast cancer charities were educating young people.
Because that's the thrust of it, isn't it? You basically want young people to check themselves because they don't think it could happen to them.
Yeah, that was really important at that time to kind of think, actually, I got breast cancer, I could do something about it, I should have been told. And yeah, my breast cancer was found really late. It was found at stage 4 by the time it was found. I'm bloody lucky to still be here, but I think the reason I'm here is because I've still got lots to do with Copperfield.
Thank you very much for coming on the show, my friend. Tonight's guest, Mike Goody, who won 4 gold medals and 1 silver medal at the recent Invictus Games. That's worth a round of applause. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Well, my pleasure.
That must feel so amazing, that moment when you win.
Yeah, I mean, just that the whole atmosphere of the whole games and the support from the general public was just immense.
You've done so many amazing things for charity. That one of the most interesting things about you, you swam the Channel.
Yes, a team of 6 of us.
Oh, there's 6 of you?
Yeah, it wasn't long after I'd been injured myself.
Right.
I was in quite some dark days with alcohol and
What is that,
things.
if you don't mind me asking, what is that moment like when you lose your leg?
I still had my leg at the point when I did the English Channel. I actually kept my leg for 2.5 years.
Oh, did you?
And it was chronic pain. I couldn't walk without mind-boggling painkillers or just do anything really.
Yeah.
And it was, for me, so debilitating.
Right.
And just sort of wanted to do more, but just with the state of mind and in the frame of mind, because, you know, that's the physical injury you can see, but the psychological injuries behind it were just tremendous. I just didn't want to be around at all.
How did you manage to go from that understandable state of kind of woe to where you are now? You seem so bright and sparky.
Well, it took a while, not going to lie, and you know, I've still got some things going on, as we all do.
Yeah.
But Help Me Heroes, they got something called the Battleback programme, and they said, we've got a potential for Channel coming up, but you can't be a clinical alcoholic anymore, effectively. You've got to train for it, you've got to do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, threw myself into training rather than into the bar, and you know, a team of 6 of us completed the Channel about 6-7 months later.
Incredible. And that's worth a round of applause.